bad link. But anyway, if you can welcome to the stage Cath Holland, she's going to be telling us about Scott Walker.
In December, it's 10 years since Scott Walker's final studio album. This is a very classic image of Scott from the late 1960s. He's got a black pea coat on, he's got shades on, he's holding his hand up as if to say, I am too fragile for this world. Very melodramatic, very much the godlike genius phase. This is him at age 12. He was a child star under his real name, Scotty Engel. This was on Broadway. He's cavorting with some semi-naked women, highly inappropriate, with lots of suggestive comments on there. He was also a teen star. He started recording records in his mid-teens, which means he actually had a recording career of 60 years, which is quite incredible when you compare with the relatively few records that he actually did produce over that period. The Walker Brothers, he came over to the UK in 1964 with his mates John and Gary, and made some very big, grand, Phil Spector-esque big hits that became massive in the UK. But as the albums progressed, the songs became darker. He did a cover version of In My Room, which is about voyeurism. The Walker Brothers fans, female fans, very derided, but we must appreciate that they started as the girls grew up. They moved with his music, and they were the ones buying the albums that didn't really sell, and they kept his career growing for many years. The Zip, very much a part of his pop star identity, attracted the female gaze to the groin area, and also 10% of men. And that's just an illustration of how he knew his market. These 4 albums are known as the Godlike Genius albums, the albums that people refer to as the most influential that he did. Established himself as a solo star. Scott too, he starts bringing cover versions of Jacques Brel songs, and they progressively get darker as they go on. He drew on lots of very highbrow subjects, lots of European history, lots of European art and culture. This is the Ingmar Bergman film, The Seventh Seal, where you've got a knight playing a game with chess with death in order to live. He also wrote songs about women, which were very, very unusual. He sang about housewives who were put under the chemical cosh by their doctors to control them, and how they thought in the late 1960s. Very different from the Woodstock era, where lots of other his contemporaries were singing about very different things. We're moving into the early 70s now, when he started drinking. And he made some shit records, I'll be honest with you. These are not great. I put them on every so often just to see, but he just did them for money. This is like, Till the Man Comes In is a fascinating album. It's a song of 2 halves. It inspired the Pulp song, bad cover versions. Half the songs are bad cover versions, but the other half, they give us a very strong signal of the progression he was going to make. He was going to go very alternative. The Walker Brothers got back together in the mid-70s, once again, knowing his market. Very MOR, very adult-orientated country songs. They had a big hit with No Regrets, and they bashed out a couple of albums. However, the 3rd album, Night Flights, absolute masterpiece. Scott produced 3 or 4 songs on it. The Electrician, in The Electrician, he compares basically an executioner putting the lever in an electric chair. He compares that to BSM practice and also the male orgasm. It's a fantastic song and it's so beautiful. The Brit advert, he popped up in the 1980s in UK cinemas, selling Britvic along with the likes of Dusty Springfield. It's a very stylish advert, but very much something he made for money. 1984, he brought out an album called Climate of Hunt that no one understood. He was interviewed by Muriel Gray on the Tube. She had no idea who he was, but I think it's very good representation about how the mainstream media have never understood him, and neither have the left field really. 1992, the No Regrets compilation album came out, and it sort of this image of him being a recluse started to raise its head. So he got packed by the Sun, and I think it's hilarious. They followed him around Asda and stuff and found nothing. During this period, during the 80s and 90s, he had struggles finding a record label that would look after him. He said people would take him to dinner, but they wouldn't finance the picture. He eventually found a beautiful home with 4AD. The Scott BBC Prom, this is about 2017, 2018. Jarvis Cocker, John Grant, Richard Hawley put together this tribute to him, that paid tribute to the first 5 albums. I thought it was quite generic, but Suzanne Sundford was brilliant. Music Over Merch, that book was shit. The middle thing, the screen print's absolutely gorgeous. The third one I consider his final gift to us. It's a book of lyrics, including songs that he didn't manage to record because he was so poorly. Legacy versus popular myth. He's still not a household name, and there's still albums that he made where the first edition still haven't sold out, which I find it's quite depressing but also inspiring himself, because I find some comfort in the fact that he is still an outsider.